Hello, can you hear me? All right. This is me at the podium. And by the way, the sound man's name was? Chuck. So when I play the guitar, I'm going to have to unplug my guitar again to put the strap on, so just to give you a heads up there. So anyway, what I thought I would do, there's a chapter in here that's all about Hinthoven. Should I read the part of the chapter or the whole chapter? Or? Is it okay if I read the whole thing? And then, so what I thought, just to give you an idea, I'd read the Hinthoven chapter, and then I would play the Hinthoven song, and then my work is done. Okay, this chapter is called A History of Hinthoven, Hinterlands, and Hedlights. That's the name of it. Okay. And there's a little horrible map that I've drawn that looks the worst map of all you've ever seen. Okay. The town of Hinthoven was nothing much to write home about. In fact, no one could even vaguely recall a letter, postcard, or package ever being sent to or from there at any point in time. For this reason, and possibly a few others, it has been largely omitted from the pages of history. That is until now. And it is no secret that for many people living in nearby townships, Hinthoven had long been considered the punchline of numerous and humorless jokes. All manner of good-natured ribbing, as well as many not-so-good-natured things, had been said over the years in taverns and round dinner tables, such as Hinthoven, the city that can't take a hint, or Squinthoven, which apparently just sounded funny, and all said by folks who'd never even set foot there. For the good citizens of Hinthoven, however, it was simply put, a nice place to call home. People were kind, the air was clean, the water was pure, and life in general was livable. To look at it on a map, it would appear the whole town was caught in a perpetual headlock between a peaceful river to the east and a menacing forest to the west. Just outside the city center and to the north a bit lay prime farmland, acres of orchards, vineyards, and plush rolling meadows that seemed bent on rolling off the face of the earth. And wherever they were heading, the sky looked eager to follow. The town itself got its name from one Marcus Hinterland, who for many years had owned the land it was built on and much of the surrounding area as well. The old Hinterland farmhouse, too, standing today where it stood then, though occupied for some time now by his great-grandson Magnus, Magnus's daughter Clara, and their faithful housekeeper Tressamundi. But we'll get to them soon enough. If you were to stroll around the city center on a day like today, you'd find a town fairly bursting with activity. Anxious-looking people rushing to and fro, horses and carts going every which way, street musicians ruining all your favorite songs, and children doing what children do best, alarming and annoying the grown-ups. To say it was easy getting lost in Hinthoven would be a huge understatement. Even those who'd spent their entire lives there could find themselves frequently disoriented as if in a maze. For every street seemed to spiral into each other, jut out unexpectedly, or end abruptly, so one was never sure if they were even on the same street they had started out on. You might think the city's forefathers had been inspired by the great mysteries of the universe when designing their street plans. And clearly it had not occurred to any of them that more than one horse and cart might wish to pass down the same street at the same time, for each was ludicrously narrow and filled with pedestrians at all hours. In fact, it was on one such crowded, narrow street where lived Deryn Hedlight and his mother Maggie, in an abode so humble that it looked positively mortified to even be mentioned in this book. Today, being the anniversary of Pearson Hedlight's death, loving husband to Maggie, stern but patient father to Deryn, we find both in a reflective mood after their somber gravesite visit. "What do you suppose Dad's doing right now?" asked Deryn innocently enough. "Well, if I know your father," said Maggie, "and I do, I'd say he's enjoying his pipe right about now, assuming they let you smoke up there." After which she took a moment to ponder this ancient mystery before vigorously stirring a pot on an old wood stove. "You know, I never told you," said Deryn, after a moment's reflection, "but Dad caught me smoking his pipe one time, and—" "Oh, I know," interrupted Maggie. "Your father and I never had any secrets between us. He told me all about it. Why, I can remember him saying, like it was yesterday, a man must earn the right to smoke his pipe at the end of a day's work or after a hunt when you've brought food home for the table. And he was right," she exclaimed, while pointing her wooden spoon seemingly toward heaven. Deryn looked wistfully at the spoon, then at the rifle hanging over the fireplace. He was proud of his boy, though, Maggie went on, sensing a shade of doubt in her son's melancholy face. And don't think for a moment he wasn't. Oh, I know, Ma, I just wish I... Deryn's voice trailed off, for his attention was drawn to an imposing shadow now moving across the curtain. The shadow belonged to one Jacques Tortiere, noted hunter and local bully, who at that very moment was pulling a cart of fresh kill from his latest hunt. Tortiere supplied meat for the local butchers and made a pretty penny too, when he wasn't boozing or beating people up. To say he was well-liked in Hinthoven would be a stretch, but if it mattered to him in the slightest, he'd never let it show. Better to be feared than loved, he'd often say, to no one in particular. Deryn himself could recall quite a few unpleasant run-ins between his father and Tortiere over the years, so the mere mention of his name could conjure up a whole multitude of emotions, none of which were helpful in any way. Ma, Deryn asked, after returning to the present. Yes, dear, she replied, with eyes peeking over the pot. Well, I was thinking that perhaps I'd go hunting tomorrow. This he said with a hopeful yet altogether heartbreaking air, and though looking in the direction of his mother, his eyes were fixed upon a world somewhere beyond her and out past this once cheerful home. Maybe it's time, he continued, that I started acting like... Here he paused to rise heroically from his low seat in the corner. The man of the house, the man Dad always wanted me to be, he said, and finished off with an expression verging on bravery, though verging from a good distance, truth be told. But still pondering the great mystery of pipe smoking in heaven, Maggie responded as anyone snapping out of a daydream would. Sorry, dear, were you saying something? That's the top thing. So, could I have blood now? Yeah. And, right. So, as I was saying, this song deals with, this is one of those proverbial musical numbers where the people are singing about how great their town is, and like Oklahoma or something. So you have to imagine that in a musical there'd be people running around the village singing this song, and I hope I don't mess it up. You can hear that all right? There's something about Hinthoven, here our love is woven into all our hopes and dreams. And when push comes to shove, then you will find enough of what you really need. The birds all sing hello, the lovely steeple chimes, for the people who know not the hour. Wherever you are roving, old Hinthoven's overflowing with a heavenly shower. If there's one thing about Hinthoven, here our doors are open to the woes of those in need. With hearts as warm as ovens and nobody judging you or your beliefs. The friendly baker smiles, the grouchy butcher scowls, the florist arranges the flowers. Wherever you are going, you are golden, old Hinthoven, it's a neighborly town. Peaceful river to the east, foreboding forest to the west. Acres of green, fetching orchards and fields, stretching out before us what a harvest it yields. What a harvest it yields. One more thing about Hinthoven, though you may be laughing at our homey, wholesome ways, but from cradle to coffin we have seen our share of loss, of grief and pain. Yet still we carry on with gladness in our hearts and faith our only power. Wherever you are roving, olden Tovens overflowing with a heavenly shower. If in Tovens where you're going, we're beholding, you'll be golden. It's a neighborly town. So you can see that, right? Everyone jumping around, okay. So, and just, I mentioned the song earlier, She's Absolutely Lovely, so I thought I'd play that one, and that would end my musical portion of the show. And this song actually appears twice in the musical. At the beginning, sung by Deryn Hedlight, and then later on in the book, it's sung by the Crad Grimsby character, who has developed a huge crush on Deryn's mother. And so he's on his way through the forest, but I'm going to do the Deryn Hedlight version right now. This has got a lot of high notes in it, so wish me luck. She's absolutely lovely. She's obviously good. And if I could only prove my love, I would. She's living in the country. I'm lost here in the town. But I'm sure if I could live inside of her heart, I'd know my way around. Some things in life are meant to be, or seem almost heaven sent. So I believe her smile was meant for me. She just obviously doesn't know it yet. She's absolutely lovely, would only do me good. And so if I have to wait my whole life for her hand, I absolutely would. I would. Thanks, everybody.